Well, Britain facing a very real national emergency, and sadly, it doesn't seem like this government view it as a top priority. Indeed, recent governments in recent years have all failed to tackle what is going on. And the reality is, when you look at these illegal crossings from France, this problem continues on a horrifying scale. The boats seem to be getting bigger, over 100 people. One had over 160 people on a single boat. So you're talking, in recent days, since Andy Burnham became Prime Minister, over 500 people crossing illegally from France to England. This is a national security emergency, as I'll set out, but this was Nigel Farage talking about this very dangerous situation.
So it's Andy Burnham's first week as PM, and thus far 538 young men have crossed the English Channel in, I was going to say small boats, but actually the boats are getting bigger. One of the boats yesterday had 165 people in it, another 101. We're almost beginning to get to the scale of migration that was coming across the Mediterranean. Not one of those people will be detained. Hardly any of them will ever get deported. Open borders, Andy, is not going to solve the Channel crisis. And here's the thing, since he became PM, he hasn't even mentioned this crisis once, which tells you about his priorities.
Indeed, it seems the numbers in recent days could actually be around the 700 mark with, as I said, bigger boats. And things have got so bad in this country now that you've even got here a village threatening to hold its own referendum on leaving the UK because they face having over 1,000 people put in a former military storage base on the edge of their village. This is Piddington, population of just 350 there. And yet it seems this village, this community, could be absolutely destroyed to the point where they're looking at calling a referendum on whether to become independent from the UK, a symbolic vote, but one that's really, a desperate plea for help, really, isn't it? And you've seen this up and down the country, communities basically, it seems to me, abandoned by their own government. It's absolutely horrifying to see what's going on. But as this continues and as the national security threat grows and is now very, very real, as I'll get to later on in this video, what is Andy Burnham's priority? Well, it seems to be, rather than talking about addressing any of this and stopping any of this, this obsession with number 10 North.
Number 10 North is all about putting power in every postcode so that people can turn things around for themselves and make changes, just as this great city has done and the other English cities are doing through devolution. Turning things round because of that ability to be able to do more for themselves. And it's also about getting the whole country facing the same way and then pulling in the same direction. That, I think, is what number 10 North can achieve. It's felt a little at times that local government's just been a bit forgotten and places aren't able to do what they want to do. But then at the sort of city level or the regional level, sometimes it's felt like an argument with people in the centre of government and people having a to and fro all of the time. Just imagine if we were all working together as one team, pulling the same way and making the change happen for people and places. I think we can do that. In fact, I feel we've got to do that. If we want to take Britain from where it is right now, and I think we all have a feeling that it's not fully where it should be right now, if we want to get it back to where it should be, it's got to be about that one team feeling. That all of the places around the UK and all of our regions and all of our nations, because number 10 North is as much for Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland as it is for the regions of England. If we get that feeling, then I think so much is possible that doesn't feel possible right now.
Meanwhile, the reality of what our country now faces, that Labour and Conservative governments have presided over, it's truly horrifying. So you can see here, around 4% of people who arrived illegally via boat, 4% only have been returned. 71% of the returns were to Albania. And you can see here, just look at the top nationality for arrivals. It's Iran. This is clearly a national security emergency. It's something I've been talking about for a while, and you can see that reflected now in this report today from the Telegraph, that Iran has been caught sending suspected operatives across the English Channel into our country, smuggling networks being run by Iran. Tehran's officials speaking to the Telegraph saying that some human trafficking routes are owned by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and that suspected Iranian operatives intercepted on small boats thought to have links to the Ministry of Intelligence and Security, that revolutionary people have been positioned in London. And you can see an Iranian official quoted there as saying, of course, don't forget that our armed forces have influence and run the routes in some cases if they want, claiming there that they have people in London waiting to be told what to do, that they can easily make London unsafe for you if they want to, and that these smuggling routes are more important and useful than the missiles for us. So they don't need a missile to target London, it's easier than that. Now, I'm pretty disgusted at the way that for many years now, Labour and the Tories have refused to defend our borders. They clearly still don't see this, what a national security threat is, a top priority. They aren't willing to do what is necessary. And, you know, just contrast the pathetically weak approach we've had from both Labour and Conservative governments with what, for instance, Labour peer Lord Glasman was talking about on GB News. Watch this. Let me know what you make of this, and what do you think should be done?
So she wants you to leave EHR too, or?
Well, I can't answer for that one.
No.
But what she did do was have an agreement with the French to stop it. What's happening here is absolutely outrageous.
Yes.
With the help, so you know, Trump, I've been in favour for a long time of putting the Royal Navy in the Channel, literally stopping the boats.
That's a Reform UK policy, that one.
Well, mine goes a bit further because you pick them up in French waters and they simply
stay there.
Their legal obligation is on France. We've got to have a much more aggressive policy towards the French government. This is what I think. They're not keeping their word. They're not honouring this. This is a breach of our sovereignty. Now, we are obliged to obey the law. That's the responsibility of every government.
Yeah.
As the law stands now, and it's not just the ECHR, it's the 48 law on refugees and various others. So what we've got to do is stop this at source, but this is making a mockery of our sovereignty. It's a threat to the public, and it has to be robustly
and it matters. So why is Andy Burnham not mentioning it? He mentioned it once. He mentioned HMO hotels in the Ashton Town Football Club speech he gave on the morning after the by-election. I haven't heard him since mention illegal migration. And why is that?
I can't answer for him.